So I'm hearing many people talk about life as if it's easy and they figured something out. Um, this whole everything all at once, everywhere all at once. It's just this information's just raining down on you, and it's like, no, you are a probability through the master code system of this quantum computing system, choosing you as a conduit. And of course, you're going to be confident in your efforts because that's part of the job. If you weren't, you would be a terrible connector. And the energy will leave you as fast as it came. And it will do so in such a passionless, sort of alexithymic um, mechanism that you'll wonder that this force you thought that was so intimate with you now doesn't give a flying shit about you. Welcome to the club. Because that's where women are right now, but women of a particular transfer of energy. So the first people who jump on this in their station, right, the information propagation, um, and what they're holding and passing on, right, um, they are culminating energy as storage units or nodes in order to take and cleave energy away from the self will directive of the male component, which on an equal battleground, just like with every sport, men will rape, pillage, and annihilate entire villages, and it wouldn't take that many. You know, you could have 10 brutal warrior men storm through a whole village of primarily, of pacifist, egalitarian um, people and annihilate them all within a couple hours, and then see them frying up human drumsticks while they take their slaves and force people into work, because there is this. Um, and so, are you talking about from an outside perspective? Do you have feudalism? Are you seeing a kakistocracy take place? Are you seeing sort of a autocratic system come into play? You can pretend that it is complex as you want to, but it is surmised in Nietzsche's work, Will to Power, and that is where we're at. Without this interplay and manipulation with energies, and trust me, nobody's that smart, nobody's that complex. No one can hold on to these thoughts for as long as it's being presupposed. We know this is true. People are being communicated directly through. They're being bolstered with knowledge, with energy, with prominence, with the support. It is not a competition. It seems like it's random, just like the DNA, RNA sequencing, but everything is predetermined because it's being directed by a computer, a computational system that you're inside of it. It's kind of like, what does a computer look like on the inside? Oh, what, but no, not the motherboard and all that, and thermal paste and all this. What does it look like on the inside, like when you're in it? Oh, okay. Well, what are you? You're a human being. Let's create a, you're not a single-celled organism. You're not necessarily, in the marsupial group. Okay, what are you? You're Homo sapien. Let's create a construct for you that would be part and parcel to the way you think and what you might find as a place that would allow your alarm system, your limbic system, your amygdala, to allow that to be suppressed, and so your breathing's going to be natural and not vagus nerve. But these are all innervations, constructs, right? That are made into flesh, that are made into carbon form, right? That can be, with the nuclear force, can just be pulled away and everything would come apart instantly. Okay, um, and I know that this seems like ridiculous concepts to people outside of philosophy and physics, but this dissipation into nothing, it, and your feeling of doom or nothingness because you are wired to feel such things, and when you are employed to do so, it shows the laziness of the system to not make each and every person 100%, right, without deviation, um, a through the physical aspects of the way their body, through their body mechanics, the kinesiology, the anatomy of an individual. Well, they're not going to need biceps. They're not going to need, they're not going to go through frontal plane. They're not going to need the TFL or the, or the peroneals or the glute medius, right, or the quadratus lumborum. They're not going to need these things because they don't have to go through that movement, right? So that's the real mind fuck, is that the organism has to believe that they are in a system and that they are not slaves to the system, and they aren't directed toward one ridiculous purpose, or maybe not even that, just as a backup, and maybe not even that the energy had to be dispersed from one node, one person, one enlightenment era genius to thousands, right? That same energy had to be dispersed, and this is how it's going to go. And then as these chimera are pulled back, as they die away, and the energy becomes more dense, condensed again through these cycles and these eras, it's like maybe we'll get it right this time, right? So we get closer and closer toward this critical factor. And the fucking quantum computer doesn't need to be right. It doesn't even need to be spot on. It does what it does. It does what it does because it is not human. And even what we presuppose human to be is a construct in itself. None of this ever would have naturally taken place. That's pretty profound. That without the directive, without the engineering, none of it would have taken place. So, of course, this idea of animism and Neoplatonism, and Hava Nagila Hava, right, where there's like this community and this one type of kumbaya situation, that doesn't exist. Like that is what Nietzsche is talking about. The will to power is that one who amasses power is going to be in power. Now, what the fuck is getting in the way? Like here we see it. We have this despotic tyrant. He's all ready to go. He doesn't have any doubts. He's got the people behind him. Everybody's pissed off. They've seen their whole families die. They've seen everything go wrong. They've been railed and run over, and they've been training. And they're going to go take on the fucking world. And then you have some little prima donna that's of the, Socratean mind, but interprets this, Alexander the Great, as his divine passage to overtake the entire world. But he's going to play the polemic balancing system of entropy, right? And can you imagine somebody from another, an intelligence from another time? So when you're talking about probabilities, inevitability, where you say a consciousness would emerge 2,000 years later based on the projections of how these memetics are laying out, right? We see that we have this, that we have, all of these attributes such as plumbing and agriculture, and houses are kind of put in such an order where you see, they're keeping in mind storms that are coming, and also, and this village is made to last. Now, let's allow them to go on with very little refraction, right? And maybe they'll have to amass a military and ward off, and it's like this computational system is playing out this really boring computer game that takes a hell of a long time. But when you follow through succession, you're going through the iron. I mean, a lot of this stuff is even biblical, like Cain, Tubal Cain. you're going through the iron era. You're going through all these where, metallurgy and understanding how to pour, how to make things a specific way. You got the blacksmithing as a trade coming from it, and then you see how there's this mutualistic trade done in a community. And then you have the tally stick, and it's like all these things you have to see as inevitable. They're things that would inevitably have come into being, along with the computer system. It might seem far-fetching, but when you go back to the sort of archaic computer mechanisms, you kind of have to stand back and go, oh, holy shit, this was already pretty much understood on a fundamental scale far before cosmology was even put together. But the weird thing is you see these Zoroastrian magi, right, that really seem to understand the cosmos, right? Even alchemy itself, right, was a part of chemistry at a time. Even ether itself was considered another force for quite a long time. And it still should be, because that's where you're going to find where this sort of electromagnetic glue meets chirality, leads directly into a computational system, in my humble opinion.